to access mentor meetings and what needs to be completed within those meetings. So if you've not watched the previous 2 videos on logging on and lesson observations, I'd encourage you to do that because that will fill in a lot of the gaps that won't be covered in this video. Again, mentor meetings or weekly meetings are accessed via the calendar. The red dot shows the due date of this form. To access it, simply click on the name of the form in blue. You can see we have 2 sections to this form. The first section is to be completed by the trainee before the meeting. They need to come to the meeting prepared. It's a really good habit for them to get into. And the things they need to look at is covering how many hours they taught, approximately, and for primary, the lessons they taught, or for secondary, the year groups they taught. Obviously, they won't be able to fill in both. Here we've also asked them to have a brief update of the training. So we'd really encourage you as a mentor to make reference to and make clear links between what they've learned on their Friday sessions and how that's applied in the school setting. We appreciate for something like behaviour management, we will say the generic principles, and you can give them a lot more detail and information about contextualising that information in your school setting and how it works with policies, routines, and etc. So they can save and submit that prior to the meeting. Like I say, we would definitely encourage them to make sure that they have done so. And if they aren't, please make sure you're keeping on top of them and reminding them. This section says to complete with your mentor. And again, as with the lesson observations, if this is completed during the meeting with one of you typing, or it's a case of one of you taking the notes away and then writing up a later point, we have no preference. Do whichever suits you best. And you can see there's 2 areas. One of this week's achievements where you can look at what's been achieved by either a particularly great lesson or something, a development point in their subject knowledge or their ability to deal with behaviour incidents can be recorded here. So we're getting an ongoing picture of how they're improving as a teacher and also getting them to reflect on the successes that they've had. And also, as with everybody who's teaching, there's always areas for development. So just a summary of things that you've spoken about that may have arisen from a formal observation or just from their general practice, something that they need to look at. Finally, it says now set and review any targets. Now, how to do that will be covered in a separate video, as targets can be ongoing and may last longer or shorter than the weekly meetings time slot provides. Again, as with the lesson observation form, there is the ability to add documentation to this form. So this could be if you make reference to a policy in the discussion, or you say actually there's a chapter on a book that would be really useful, or a blog, you can add it here for later reference. Or it might even be when you're talking about the success, about how well they've done something, you might want to add a bit of evidence or link it to that so they've got that there for later use. Once it's completed, you can simply close down the form and that'll be logged there. And if you want to go back and review it again, just the same way of navigating by clicking on the correct week and the blue title. Thank you very much.